Okay. All right. Woohoo! Oh my goodness. I am so excited about this next guest. Y'all are going to, you're in for a treat, a real treat. I have known this man, look, over 40 some years, and to watch him on a journey, even back then, to see him, I'm going to use the word awkwardly, try to find his place in life, trying to find his place in the neighborhood that we built up, we lived in, the kids that we grew up with. But he just took everything with a grain of salt. It was just like whatever blow came, he maneuvered in such a way that he just kind of like laughed it off and just kept going. And to see where he has landed now, it really absolutely blows my mind. I'm super duper excited about him, about what he's doing. I can't wait for the project that he's working on now, and woohoo! It is going to be awesome, 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 awesome. So I'm gonna stop talking, and I'm gonna go ahead and pray. It's gonna hang off a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and pray. So, Father, we just come first of all just to give you thanks for who you are. Oh my goodness. This is super duper awesome. I'm so glad, so glad, so glad, so happy that you presented this opportunity for me to be able to have conversations with individuals that are doing the daggone thing in the earth. They are lighting it up right where they are and inspiring others and encouraging others to seek out purpose and to embrace authenticity and just life in general. So I say thank you, thank you, thank you for the opportunity. I ask that you just bless this man, Lord, that you just move in Carlton's life in such a huge and blow your mind way. You know what he stands in need of, Lord, and you are with him, you're guiding him, and I'm excited about his journey, Lord. I'm excited about you choosing him, Lord, to just bring him into this world, Lord, for a great and super duper gorgeous purpose. So I'm gonna stop talking, but I thank you, Lord, and we just give you glory and honor. In Jesus' name, woohoo, amen, amen, amen. See, even in my prayer, I'm me. I'm me. He knows exactly who I am.
Right or wrong way to do it.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce my guests. I always do the, coming to the stage. I might have to stop doing that because Martin Lawrence may come after me, but
I won't tell him. We still might find out.
Right. But I love it. I love it. All right. My guest is Carlton Armstrong. I'm gonna just stop talking and I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, young man.
You did such an awesome job. I don't know if I can top that. I'm good with your introduction, but thank you. Thank you. Childhood friend for
oh my God.
The 70s, baby.
I'm gonna say yes. I am gonna say yes. The 70s. Can you believe that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can't remember. Second grade, maybe.
Well,
are you from?
I'm gonna say yes, Carlton. Yeah. All I know is I can remember you being around in my very young age, stage of life. So I'm gonna say that, yes.
Okay.
Second grade.
We're wrong with that.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. So when you already like blowing it up anyway. But when you don't forget about me.
Oh,
don't forget.
I'm not
like, I knew him since second grade.
Stop it. Stop it. Miss Big Hug Conversations.
Yes, 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 yes.
All right.
Well, I do. I welcome everyone to Big Hug Conversations. Yes, 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 where the passion is the draw and the journey is the big hug. The passion
Right.
for Carlton Armstrong. Now, I'm going to say the passion is that bass playing, super duper awesomeness that I see, but I'm going to allow him to share. But first, I want you to tell us about you. Like, tell the audience a bit about who you are, where were you born, where you grew up.
Oh, you want to go that far back? Wow.
I mean, where you at now, all of that. Give us a little history.
I was born a poor black child in Birmingham, Alabama. No, well, no, Birmingham, Alabama, where it all started. Mom moved to DC when I was 1. So we were in Alabama for a year and then moved to DC to be closer to my father. He was living in, my mom, it's a weird story. My grandparents divorced, but my grandfather remarried a woman who lived in DC.
Okay.
So we were in Alabama. He remarried someone who lived in DC, so she would go and visit him in DC. And that's where Mom met my dad. One thing led to another, and then wound up moving to DC with me in tow as a kid.
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
Interesting. I love it.
And
Okay.
through osmosis, we wound up in Arlington, Virginia, across the street from you.
Right. Okay, so I feel like there's a little more. You just kind of.
Well, because I mean, the little more is like more Mom's business than mine.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
So yeah. So obviously part of her journey was my journey too, because I had to go where she was going, but it's funny though, but if it wasn't for her journey, I wouldn't have found my journey in a sense, because really we moved around a lot as a kid. And the fact that we did move around so much, I was exposed to a lot of different people. And had we not made that move, I don't know, who knows what I'd be doing today. So the funny thing is, after I moved from where we were in Johnson Hill, we moved to Suitland, Maryland. I know, right? We moved to Suitland, Maryland. And from Suitland, Maryland, I met this kid in elementary school who changed my life.
Wow.
Changed my life, yeah.
Wow. Okay, how?
Well, so we're in Sydney, Maryland. I'm there, and I think it's the 3rd grade. I was there in the 3rd grade, and just like the end of the school year. So just probably like, I don't know, probably like May of, 1977, whenever it was. So we had a show and tell class. And this kid comes up and goes, hi everybody, for show and tell, I want to introduce you to my favorite band, and it's Kiss. And he comes up with the Kiss album. And then he tells us about the band. He comes down, he sits next to me with the album. And back then, Kiss had all this crazy makeup and all this stuff, right? And he sits down, he puts the album cover on his desk. And I'm like, how, what is this?
Right.
More than, you, as a child, you listen to whatever your parents listen to. So up to that point, I'm all like Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind and Fire, Marvin Gaye, Barry White, all that stuff, And so the next thing you know, this thing came out, and it's like, whoa, how come nobody told me about this? Here I am, I'm in the 3rd grade, and these looks like comic books come to life.
Right.
It's like comic book come to life. So I come home from school, and would tell anybody who would listen to me, have you heard this band called Kiss? Have you heard this band called Kiss? And so in Suitland, Maryland, there was 3 schools. So you had the elementary school, the junior high school, and the high school. I'm in elementary school, which gets let out first. So after elementary school, I tell my friend Lawrence, who's in middle school, oh my God, this band called Kiss, blah, blah, blah. And Lawrence go, man, you should meet Dwayne. Dwayne was in high school. So we had to wait for Dwayne to get out of high school. So talking to Dwayne about this brand new band I found out named Kiss. And they go, hey kid, we're gonna put on a concert for you. A concert? What are you talking about? So Dwayne lived on the first floor of his building. So he goes to his bedroom and we were outside looking in, okay? So him and Lawrence get together, man. They put on this Kiss album. They got the hairspray. They got the fire. They're lighting it up with the hairspray. And they were just doing this whole Kiss thing. And I was just mesmerized after that. So, which kind of, which started the spark for everything. So, I have to go back a little bit further though. Stevie Wonder was my first person who I wanted to emulate.
Wow.
As a kid, I wanted to give him my eyes. I loved me some Stevie Wonder. Go back even further, thinking about it, I'm not sure if it was either Stevie Wonder or Paul who played organ in our church growing up.
Wow.
Loved to meet some Paul.
Wow.
Yes, So I guess maybe, I'm not sure if I heard Stevie Wonder first or Paul first, but either way, I wanted to be a piano player. I wanted to play organ because that's what they played. And then, but once I found out about Kiss ain't have no organ.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So from there, that kind of started my whole, wanting to, get on stage and, join the band and stuff, Yeah.
That is amazing. Third grade.
But the funny thing is, but I didn't really learn how to play an instrument until like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years later. I think that was the 3rd grade. I don't think I really started playing an instrument until the 7th grade.
Wow. And what instrument was that?
I wanted to be a drummer.
Okay.
I wanted to be a drummer. And did you go to Ken? No, you went to TJ, didn't you?
Kenmore.
You went to Kenmore. We went to Kenmore together? Wow, how did I forget that? All right. So I went to Kenmore and went to take beginning band with Mrs. Hartness. If you remember Mrs. Hartness, she taught band at the time. She says, we have enough drummers, pick something else. I'm like, huh? Well, that's what I came here for.
Right.
So I had to pick something else. She wouldn't let me play drums. And I'm like looking around the room. I'm like, that thing with all the buttons. It was the saxophone. So I played that for a year and hated it.
Wow.
And come to find out at the time that next year I could take guitar class. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll take guitar class next year because, I'm still thinking Kiss, But during that time, in between thinking about playing guitar and playing saxophone, I got introduced to this band called Rush. And their main guy played bass. And I'm like listening to this stuff. I'm going, man, the guy who's playing bass in this band is much better than the guy playing bass in Kiss, So then I started getting the Rush. And then that was my band. So like Kiss fell to the side and I became, I became a Rush fan. And telling anybody who would listen that I played bass before I even picked one up. Oh man, I'm a bass player. I play bass, blah, blah, blah. And then this is when we're in high school now. And this guy named Eric Golden, who was a junior and I was a sophomore. He goes, hey man, we should jam after school. I'm like, okay. I didn't own a bass, didn't know how to play, but
Right.
to everybody that I played. So, actually, so do you remember Music and Arts that we had in Arlington? Music and Arts, it was just like a store that you sold instruments, but they also taught kids
Oh
how.
yeah.
So, but they sold instruments cheap. Okay.
Mhm.
Somehow I talked my neighbor and helping me out and bought a bass and amplifier. I don't know how I did it. I don't know why he did it, but he helped me out. So next thing you know, I got me a bass, got me an amplifier, went and did a jam with this kid after school, and it was terrible. But I had a bass and I had an amplifier at that time, and all I had
Wow.
to learn how to play it. And then,
Um, the steps
yeah,
of the journey. Oh my gosh.
right,
You
right.
know,
Right. But you know, the funny thing is, like, a very good friend of mine and I at the time, we both got instruments about the same time.
mhm,
Got mine like, I think we both got ours in December. I got mine, got a bass, and for Christmas, he got a guitar and a bass for Christmas. Here you go, kid. And it just never connected with him. I
mhm.
think the fact that I made the effort to do this, to that, to get this, to get the bass, made me want it more. And the
Yeah,
fact that it came to him much easier, he was like, yeah, I get to it when I get to it. So
right.
we went from there, you know. So, but yeah.
I love that whole story. I mean,
But
and the moves, first of all, that those moves introduced you to
oh
various people,
yeah, oh yeah.
Um, but I'm gonna go back to what I said as far as the person that I saw you as, even when we were younger, that when stuff was just like, kid jacked up, not you being jacked up, but just how kids are. Um, just seeing you, like, I'm gonna say bounce back, but you had this way of kind of like,
Resilience. That,
yeah, you just had a way of just like shaking it off.
you know,
And though I could tell, that whatever took place hurt you, but you didn't allow that to like stop you. You would just keep going. And so that was already in you. And where it started, I don't know, but I saw that. And so now for you to say, here you are talking about, yeah, you play and all of this, and then somebody say, okay, let's come jam out together. And you're like, what the heck I'm gonna do? Because I don't know how to play and I ain't got no instrument.
yeah.
But yet you found a way to that. You didn't let that whole well, it could have been embarrassment, it could have been, but whatever was going on in your mind, about it, you didn't allow that to stop you. You let it fuel you really,
Yeah.
into the place where you are now. That blows my mind.
You
Most
know,
young people don't do that.
I think I've always been lucky in that aspect, you know. I mean, you know, if there's a mountain in your way, you either go through it, go around it, or go over it,
Mhm.
you know. And so there's always a way, you know. I mean, you know, but also, you know, you have to be realistic in what your dreams or aspirations are too.
Mhm.
Uh,
Okay, talk about that. Because how can a dream be like realistic? How can you be realistic about a dream?
well, I mean, because once you peel back the layers, once you really find out the reality to your dreams, there's nothing wrong with shooting for the sky. But once you realize, I mean, you know, I'm talking about as a kid, when you're growing up, you watching, you know, we watched this whole MTV generation growing up, and we're seeing all these, you know, people on TV and all that stuff. But then as we got older, you ever see a TV show called Behind the Music? You ever see that? It was on MTV. So once that stuff started to come out, then you started to realize that these people weren't making the money that you thought they were making. They weren't, you know, I mean, they were famous.
Right, but they weren't living the life that we thought.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. And there was like so much smoke and mirrors that was
Mhm.
involved in all that because they're on TV. And once I started making a living in music, you know, I started to realize, going, man, people just, I'm doing pretty good actually. You know, I mean, when you hear these people on tour, they're doing this, doing that, but come to find out, a lot of them still lived at home.
Wow.
A lot of them still lived at home at their mom's house,
Wow.
but they're on MTV. You
Right.
know? And then, you know, once I got established in Chicago, and then seeing how other musicians lived, and I'm like, well, man, I'm doing okay, you know. So you just be realistic in your aspirations, and not saying that the dream is not as big, but all of the things that glitter isn't gold, so to
Right.
speak.
Okay.
You know, I mean, not saying that people don't make it there because, you know, Prince, Michael Jackson did,
Right.
but they were the 1% of the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
and when it gets down to it, I mean, less than, I mean, really, I would say probably 1% of people actually try to make it in the music business, really actually do. Because think about it. I mean, everybody's got talent on some level.
Right.
We all know somebody who can sing.
Right.
And if they really put their minds to it, they can sing professionally.
Mhm.
So I don't think being a professional musician or anything is really all that. It's just anybody can do it. It's just if they choose to do it and put in
Mhm.
the effort to do it, just like anything else, you know. I mean, of course, there are people who are, there's always going to be someone who's better than others, you know. I mean, you got your Michael Jordan, then you got everybody else. You know, there's always going to be that higher echelon of people out there, but there's plenty of room for everybody else. And
Absolutely.
I have no problem being everybody else. You know.
I love the fact that you said there is room for everybody else.
Of course.
Right. Because we all have our lane, right? I mean, yes, there are many singers out there, but each one of them have their own personality, their own experiences that they bring to the table. Even all of that is incorporated in their voice and the tones and how they, bellow those melodies out. So yeah, we all have our own lane. It's plenty room.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And just remember, as many people are coming in the game, it's just as many people leaving the game too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Wow.
always going to be recycled of
Yeah.
new and old. You know, I mean, Olivia Newton-John just died, right?
I know.
And she was the hottest thing in music.
Right. Hey,
You
better shape up.
know? And
That
so,
was the first movie that was my first movie that I ever,
Grease,
yes, loved it, loved it, loved it.
I,
So it'll always have a special place in my heart. She will too.
but someone's taking her place in a sense. You know, one person leaves,
Yeah,
another one comes up. You know, so yeah,
absolutely.
it's room for everybody. You know, you're doing your thing. You know, there's room for you out there. You just
That's right.
gotta find your niche. You know, that's
Yeah,
the thing. You know, you got to find your thing that sticks, that works for you. You know.
yeah, because honestly, as I know I was nudged, and I say nudged by God to do this, because I am if you didn't know, I'm a person who I'll stay in the back. I don't want to be out front. Um,
Behind the scenes.
So, right. So I get very nervous. First, I was always like that in school. Um, and some people will probably look at me like, she ain't, she ain't shy. She's not. Once I get a little comfortable, then, it's a little different. But anyway, God nudged me to do this. And in the process of putting it all together, and creating this whole Big Hug Lady platform, I started looking around and I'm like, everybody get a podcast now. Everybody, is doing that because this was around right at the height of the pandemic. So
Right.
that's all everybody was doing. And, it was a little intimidating until he did have to share with me, you're not like them. You're not, I don't even want you to be like another person. You be who you are, the person that I created you
Right.
to be. And there is something that I have for you to do in the lane that, I've called you. So yeah, podcasts, regardless of how many out there that is talking about the same things, but it's again our experiences and how we bring it together, bring it forth on or through the platform. I was gonna say something. We got to the podcast thing. Carlton, how'd you get to where you are now? Well, first of all, where are you?
Well,
You know,
it's kind of funny, we're I'm kind of in the stage of my life. I'm slowing down, actually.
okay.
I've done this for such a long time. I've toured, I've recorded, and you brought up the pandemic, and the pandemic help me realize that, you know what, I want to do something else. I mean, I like being at home. Because when
Yeah.
you're a touring musician, your life isn't your own. There's been
Mm-hmm.
plenty of times I bought concert tickets or plane tickets to go someplace, and I couldn't go because even after I said, "Hey, man, don't book a show on this day," they still booked the show on that day. So so I got home and the pandemic was over, and it was still kind of slow, but the world was starting to open up again. And I just realized I didn't have the want or desire to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just kind of like, I think I'm just chill and just be at home and just take life as in what it is now. But I still recorded my album. I still want to release my album. But once it's out, I think I'm just going like, okay, here you go, and then call it a day. And
Wow.
just live the rest of my life, and just I want to go on adventures now.
Mm-hmm.
My plan is next year or the year after is to tour America. I'm gonna really tour it. I mean, I've seen all of America. I've been to every state and every major city, but it's only for a night or two.
Right.
Now I get to go here and I can stay here forever, how long I want to, go there, stay and look around you know, and do that. So yeah, I want to do some traveling, some American traveling on my own time, and like visit I'm wanting to try to visit everybody I know. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
try to. I'm gonna try to visit as many people as I possibly can. You
Right.
know. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm slowing down, but I still want to go on adventures. You know.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I am feeling that right now. I really am in the stage of where I am. I kind of went through that same thing um, with the whole nudging into, the business and podcast and everything, and even coaching. So life coaching.
Yeah.
Um, and it was, I could feel that change, the shift within, that there was something different that I needed to do.
Right.
And like embrace the daggone thing, right? Instead of just dabbling here and there, or yeah, I could do that. I could do this over here. I could do that over there, and then still, keep my job, all of that. But let me tell you, when I said, okay, Lord, I am feeling that whole tug within me. I want more. The thing that, okay, so I'm always saying to other people, oh my gosh, he's going to do super duper gorgeous, amazing things. I see it, blah, blah, because I do see it. I see it in individuals, and I encourage them, and, in that way to just keep pressing and all of that. And in my own journey, or along my own self-discovery journey, is just like, I feel that same energy for myself, and when I was just like done being over here, over there, or, just kind of hanging out or trying to figure it out, he was just like, okay, 2 weeks notice and go. Okay, Carlton, first of all, I'm like, 2 weeks notice where? And what you mean? Because I'm close to retirement, right? So what I'm supposed to do? What's gonna happen? And for me, I mean, I have like conversations with God. It's just like I'm talking to a friend, So I'm like, well, okay, so first of all, if I do this, how I'm supposed to live, what's going to, take place? I wouldn't tell my children to do this, so what's up? But the first response that he gave me, so there were two responses, as he and I had this whole dialogue about putting in a 2 weeks notice and go. The first one was when I gave him the whole, I'm almost at retirement, why would I leave? He said, well, who said you was gonna last that long? Right. And it was like, oh, okay. So you put it into a serious perspective, right? Because it helped me to see that I was the one planning my life. I was the one who said that I'm going to live to such and such, many years and be able to do this or that afterwards. And it was like, oh gosh, well, you're right. So as we continued, it was like, then the second thing he said was, why would you wait so long for it? Like you've been saying, you've been wanting, and you've been encouraging other people to do it. So here you are, but why would you wait until, I don't know, 10, whatever years left before you experience the thing that, like the greater thing that I have for you, or the thing that you want? Why would you? That took me into this whole like, oh my gosh, to see how our brain operates and how the things that we're taught, right? Like the number one thing, you don't quit a job before having another one, waiting for you. That's embedded in us. Most of us anyway, it's embedded in us, from ever since we were little. And then to know that, like I said, those things that we bring into our makeup of how we think and how we process things and how we go about our life, it is holding us back, truly, 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 truly. And so the class that I've been taking on is through, oh my gosh, Dr. Alana in the Trauma Academy. I said that wrong. Oh my gosh. But anyway, you know who I'm talking about. I interviewed her as well. So y'all can go to my website and check her out, check that conversation out. But to know that these brain systems that we have, this whole beautiful, super duper gorgeous creation that God put together for us to think and do. But because of the world that we live in, right, that we were born into, kind of like recreates, or not recreates, but it reshapes our thoughts. And so the brain, in as amazing as it is, it also can hinder us. But that was a part of my journey. Just learning that information from her, it helped shape my understanding of the go, and understanding that to process, like, who was I listening to when I said, oh no, hold up, I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not, or blah, blah. But yeah.
Getting out of your own way, in a sense.
Right. Because I would have talked myself out of it, and the whole thing was, well, what, we got to know what's going on. For me, anyway, I have to have details before moving on. And not having details, it is a little nerve-wracking, but I'm learning to not allow my amygdala, that's one, to drive me into a place where I am acting out of my emotions instead of processing, really stopping to think, and then the spiritual side to know, no, I trust God, right? Like, we've been on a whole relationship, and he's already proven to me that, he will do exactly what he said. I know his voice. I know when it's him and when it's not, and all of that. And so why am I hesitating? So that whole journey for me has been, it's been amazing. But I'm still, like I said, at that place where I'm nervous about it, because I don't know where I'm going, what's happening next. And he's teaching me to trust him, and to trust that he is the provision, not me. I can work all I want. I can, put money to the side and save all I want. But who's to say I'm going to ever be able to use that? You know what I'm saying? Who's to say that I am, in me trying to plan my life, who's to say that that is going to take place? So I have allowed him, and I am allowing him to guide me along the way, and hearing his voice and praying. And, so I suggest everybody, while you are on your self-discovery journey, yes, if you don't know and you don't have that relationship, please, 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 do so. But definitely learn more about our brain systems and how it can literally keep you from the very thing you've been wanting to do, that is for you to do. Even the way that we talk, our speech, the words that we use can literally keep us from embracing the thing that we're supposed to be walking toward. It's amazing. It blows our mind. It really does. When we think about it all. Yeah. And words are powerful. They are powerful. Oh my gosh. I mean, the Bible does talk about, life and death, and, the tongue, the power of the tongue. And it is just like, woo. Sometimes we read certain things, read scripture, whatever, and it's kind of like, yeah, okay, or I don't really get that. But aside from, that spiritual side, we understand, words, and how somebody can say words don't hurt, but yes, indeed, they do. And they will transform your mind into believing that you are what somebody said you are, you know. So how we get over here? I don't know. I don't know how we get on this subject, but it was for somebody. So
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, but words can be very, I mean, can be very inspirational too, you know,
yeah,
and
exactly.
you know, and I mean, so one word can like bring you up, another word can bring you down. So, you know, so also depends on what you let in, what you believe, and what you like, you know. I mean,
Right.
someone you the I mean, telling someone that they're the best or something all the time can be just as dangerous as telling them,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely. So
so,
that, yes, that you gotta know who you are.
yeah.
Definitely have to know who you are.
I
And
try to
speaking,
stay grounded as much as I possibly can. You know, if someone
yes,
gives me a compliment, I always like, oh, thank you, but you know, I try to
right.
because it's easy for your head to get real big. You know.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, but you know, when we talk about the journey, the one thing I wanted to touch upon is like one thing that I didn't realize growing up in Arlington and being a musician, being a Black musician and liking rock was
Right.
kind of
That was different.
kind of difficult for me growing up
Yes.
because you know all of a sudden you know rock wasn't considered a Black man's music, but we invented it.
Right.
We invented rock and roll, you know, and somehow we let it go. People
Uh-huh.
took it over and it became what it was, you know. And then so me, you know, trying to find my niche within that was always a little bit more difficult, you know.
Yeah.
It's always, you know, it was always kind of weird, you know. We see guys in the band, you see the one Black dude in the band, you kind of
Right.
stick out a little bit more, you know, where I tried my best to, you know, even though it's obvious that I'm the Black guy in the band, but still, I was the more unique looking one within the group, you know,
Okay.
try to stick out just a little bit more than everybody else, you know. And
Okay.
you have to work a little bit harder because you know people don't think that you belong there, or
Mm.
guy doing this, what have you. Well, you know, I got
Right.
something to show you, you know.
So
And
how did you try to stick out? I mean, you intentionally try to?
well, you know, it wasn't anything that was intentional. It was something that kind of just happened, being that you know I was the Black kid who embraced Kiss at an early age. That
Right.
stuff kind of rubbed off on me in my performance. So especially in my later years of my life, you know, I became the guy known as the guy with the face.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. I
you
love
know,
it.
and so which kind of hurt me in some ways too, because you know, all of a sudden people are scared of me. You're scared of me? Come on, really? Why are you scared of me? You know, nobody's had a conversation of me with me. There's no way you can be afraid of me, you know, but it's just
Right.
looking at the stage persona that I adopted over the years, you know, and so
Wow, that's interesting.
I became that guy, not really realizing it, but I became that guy, you know. But
Okay.
whatever, you know, but it's I guess it's one of those things that you know that helps you stick out, makes you more recognizable when you're out there, you know.
Mhm, mhm.
You know,
So I know you said you became that guy. Do you think that's just you? Like that's your true and
Ye-
authentic,
right.
person.
Well, you know, one thing I've noticed being a performer, you know, and you know, if Michael Jackson was still alive, you can see that in him. It's like, you know, people have a stage persona
Mhm,
and a personal persona, you know.
mhm.
Um, it's been many a times where we're on the road and we're like with the promoter, they took us out for dinner or whatever. They hadn't seen us play, but they had us out for dinner, and then once they see the show, and they see me afterwards, it's like, you're not the same person who we had dinner with. You know?
Like, who is this? Where'd you come from?
You know, it's like one of those things that you get on stage and it's like, you know, it's a switch, really. You know, you have your, you have your stage persona, and you have your you persona. I don't know if that's the best way.
Right. I know what you're saying, but you know what? I wonder, right? And I hear everything is true.
Yeah.
Saying I get it. I wonder if the stage just allows you to be free.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? It gives you the opportunity to be that true person that you are.
The energy from the crowd feeds you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like they say, you're like a bank. You get back what you put in, or you put in what you get back, whatever, and it's like, if the audience is giving me this, then I want to,
right.
So yeah, but yeah, hold up, let me see, this thing is sitting right here, so I don't know if you can see this, but that guy, whoever,
I love it.
I became that guy, So,
and if I didn't have my shirt here, it's still in the States, so, or else I would have had it.
Yeah, I forgot. That's right. I forgot. Yeah. So, and that's funny, and that was kind of unique to me because I can't think of any other bass player who's on my level who can play out his own T-shirt and sell it. Wow. I've never known anybody else who can do it.
Wow.
I see famous people do it.
Apparently you're famous, right?
Yeah, I'm not famous. I'm just a guy playing bass, who I'm not famous. I'm blues famous, whatever that means,
Well, famous is famous.
All right,
to the blues famous. Okay, so then how did you go from, well, first of all, okay, I was gonna say, how'd you go from rock
to blues?
Blues, right. I mean, I know they're
yeah,
married, but
as intertwined as they are, is as far as apart as they are, because the worlds are completely different. Okay. The rock world, depending on, unless it's a solo artist, the rock world is about the group.
Okay.
Blues is about the individual, So and like when you in the rock world, you talk about bands. You got all these band names. You go to the blues world, there's individual names where you got like Ronnie Baker Brooks, you got Cap Mo, you got Joe Bonamassa and their band. Where you got Earth, Wind and Fire, who's a band. Where you got like Parliament, which is a band. I'm just naming bands, but in the blues, it's like, it took me a minute to understand that, because I'm thinking it's like all for one and one for all.
Right.
But no, it's all for one.
Just my show.
Yeah.
Not yours. Right.
But how I fell into is I moved to Chicago. And before I moved to Chicago, I had met someone at a convention show. Some guy who lived in Chicago. I was living in Atlanta at the time, and we met at a convention. He goes, "Hey man, you come to Chicago, look me up." So I got to Chicago, I looked him up, and he got me a gig with a reggae band.
Wow.
I had cut off all my dreads.
Wow.
My dreads were already cut off. I mean, I had just cut off all my dreads, and here I am playing for a reggae band. So anyway, it was a 3-piece reggae band. And they were, it was all right. It was just something to do. But every once in a while, when we do a show, we would add a 4th person who played guitar, and we became friends. He was like, "Hey man, you know what? I'm gonna have a cool gig for you. Meet me at Buddy Guy's joint." I lived a block away from Buddy Guy's joint. Meet me at Buddy Guy's tomorrow night. Great. I met him at Buddy Guy's. This band was playing, And he goes, what do you think of this band? Well, pretty good. He goes, well, the bass player's leaving. I'm talking to the guy, maybe, you know, you can hook up with these guys. And I'm listening to your music. I'm going, well, I can play this. It doesn't sound too difficult. So I got the gig. I mean, you know, I met the guy, got the gig, and then we were on the road for like the next decade, you know. But I knew nothing about the blues. Because, you know, coming from DC, DC's a funk town, it's a go-go town, it's a rock town, everything but the blues. You know, I mean, you know, sounds like Washington doesn't sound like the blues.
Right. Right. You're right. You're right.
It sounds like, frankly, Beverly and Mays. It sounds like, you know, that's what DC sounds like. And, you know, the funny thing is, you know, we have a place in Georgetown called Blues Alley.
Yeah, right.
It's a jazz club. So even the blues place is not even a blues joint. So all I knew was B.B. King.
Right.
And Stevie Ray Vaughan. B.B. King and Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's all I heard. So it was just like a big learning curve, learning the blues and all that type of stuff, you know. And I had, you know, just learn how to embrace it, you know, because, you know, I'm the rock guy, the black rock guy playing in a blues band. And the funny thing is, when I brought up like being the black guy, you know, come to find out that black people don't listen to the blues.
You don't think so? Okay. Well, you know what? Okay, yeah, I agree, because most of the time I see, you know, like the concerts or whatever, it's mainly whites. Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I got into it. But you know, and once we got one there, we don't like black people here. It's the band. You know. So that was like a kind of a shock to me, because I thought that would be more, but no, you know, it's you know, I think black people abandoned the blues and, you know, just went on to other things. You know, I think that's kind of how we do stuff, you know. You know, we start one genre, we get tired of it, start another one, get tired of that, start another one. And that's kind of how the blues was. But yeah, it was a long time learning curve for me to finally get acclimated into the blues situation. And, you know, surprisingly, they accepted me, you know. So go figure, you know.
Carlton, wow.
Yeah.
Now look, so from high school to touring, what happened? I mean, like, how'd you there?
I was always in bands. So I've always geared my life, because I was like, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to be a rock star. I'm going to do this. So my life was always geared to doing that. So I've always played. So I didn't go to college. I became a bike messenger in DC.
Wow.
I did that for off and on for 12 years.
Wow. You last.
But it allowed me to do my other stuff, because, you know, the schedule is a bit more freeing and I can do whatever. So I mean, it also let me grow my hair out. I can get crazy with my hair. I can, you know, I can still be the rock guy versus like, you know, some guy in a suit that out of work. I have to completely transform to this other person, where it's a lot easier to get off a bike and strap on a bass and get out there. But I did that for a long time, you know. And then so I was in a band in DC. We did well in the DC area. We won contests. We were on cover of magazines and stuff, local stuff. And but you know, when bands are starting to get signed, we got overlooked. You know, I don't know if you heard of Dave Matthews Band, but they're from this area. They're band clubs that they were.
Wow.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Yeah.
Same club, same circuit as all them, and then they got signed. We're like, oh man, it's coming to DC. It's coming to DC. It didn't come for everybody, but it's all good. It's all good, you know. But You know,
Look, it ain't over. It ain't over.
you know what? For me, I don't know if it's over completely because I still play a little bit because you'll never completely stop. But the touring world, I'm kind of over it. I'm over it because it's been, like I said, it's been 30 years, and after a while you get a little tired of sleeping in strange rooms of the night, every other night, different room, hotel, and then once it's over, you got an 8-hour commute home, so
Yeah.
easily 8-hour commute home.
Still gotta drive. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I'm like, throw me off.
once your last gig is in New York, you still gotta go home. Oh yeah. So my last real touring gig was tough because that was based out of St. Louis and I lived in Chicago.
Wow.
So depending on where we were going, I would either have to drive 5 hours to get to St. Louis. And then once you get to St. Louis, drive a minimum of 4 hours or more to get to the next place. And then, so yeah, it's a rough life.
Wow.
It's a rough life. So like I said, after COVID, it was like, you know what? This ain't so bad.
Right.
This ain't so bad.
Absolutely. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then, you see some of your heroes be unappreciated after they've been in the game for so long too. I think that's another thing that kind of like, I wouldn't say soured me towards it, but just kind of just let me know, it's like, well, I can keep doing this forever and still not, I was at a concert a couple of weeks ago to see my favorite bass player play. Nobody was there. It was like, man, this guy's been in the game for, this guy playing on Sugar Hill, whatever, doesn't matter. But, this guy has been in the game forever and he can't draw flies, And it's just like, you can be in this game forever and not get your just deserves. Not saying I deserved anything, but I don't know. Just
what
kind
you
of
were looking for.
Huh?
The thing that you were looking for?
I guess it depends on what you're looking for. I guess, not saying I ever wanted to be famous, but you definitely wanted to at least have some sort of legacy to look back on.
Okay.
And just find out just being a sideman, your legacy isn't really yours. It's kind of like, I played with this guy, I played with that guy. Don't really consider that as a legacy.
Okay.
Because, you were a part of someone else's legacy, but didn't really blaze your own trail, And so just started to look at that a little bit differently. And just like, you know what? At this age, chances are of me like blowing up, what have you, is not very likely. It's not very likely. So,
Now, what we just talked about words.
Uh-oh.
Gotta go.
Okay, boom, there we go.
We just had a conversation about words. Didn't we just, because you don't know. You saying at this age that
you're right. You're completely right. You're completely right.
You don't
but
know.
going by that, I'm going by the laws of averages,
What about the desire within your heart? Maybe
that's the thing. I hate to say it, but in a lot of ways, it's kind of just the fire's not there anymore as it used to be.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm looking to do other things now because the things I wanted to do, I've done. I've traveled the world. I got to play, I got to play bass for a living. I met a bunch of people. I got to do a lot of fun things. So all those things, I didn't make $1 million like I hoped I would. But it was never really about the money. But nice,
Right.
So, but as in doing all those things, it was and being part of someone else's journey. So, like I said, I want to I do some adventures of my own. And also the fact that, I'll be 55 next year.
Wow.
And as you said earlier, nothing's promised to anybody.
Mhm.
I have some very good friends of mine who still should be here, who aren't.
Mhm.
And they didn't get the opportunity to do half the things that I did,
Right.
So, I don't want to be dead and go, oh, damn, I'm dead. I didn't get a chance to do this, that, or whatever. So yeah, so I want to just get out and just see more of the world, and just live and make my life again. Because, anything can happen in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years that could change my life forever. I might not die, but something could change my life forever. So when you're talking like, why not now? Why not now? So, and living your life is kind of like having babies. There's never a real good time to do it. Because if everybody wait for the perfect time to have a kid,
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just going I'm gonna pay off my car, pay off my condo, which will be paid off by next year. And once it's all paid off,
You ready to roll? I love.
So
Okay, you talked about your condo. I'm seeing behind you multiple guitars. How many do you have?
I mean, about 20, somewhere around there.
Really? Why so many?
Why not? How many pairs of shoes do you have?
Not 20.
You don't?
I'm not one of those kind of people, though.
Interesting. All right. You know what? It's what's the word? I want to call it a disease or whatever. I love it's a collection. I've always been a collector.
Okay.
And it's like, and the cool thing about being a musician is all tax deductions.
Okay. Well,
It's all tax deductions, and in a way it's also, also retirement too, because I'm not attached to anything. If I need to sell something to pay a bill, all right, see ya.
Right. That's a good idea.
Oh yeah. I mean, money sitting in the bank is money sitting in the bank. You can look at it, we can look at the numbers, but I can actually play this
Right.
one.
I love it.
I bought it for, so it works out.
So have you done any, concerts of your own or do any shows?
Ooh, you know what? That's a good question. I haven't, only because my stuff is all bass, and a lot of it's like, I don't know, 6, 7 to 15 bass tracks at a time.
Okay.
And I it's
All
just
night long thinking that's just
yeah, it's just hard for just me to do everything without having either a bunch of people on stage or have it all pre-recorded.
Okay.
And for me to go to see someone play live with themselves and a computer backing them, that ain't cool. So, and I wouldn't know how to do it because it's just too much stuff. When you'd be surprised when a lot of people are like, well, hey, how come you don't play this song, or how come you don't play that song live? It's like, man, a lot of times doing stuff in the studio is just difficult to replicate live. It just is,
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I thought about it, but I just don't know how I would do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's a letdown, but it is what it is.
No, I know. It's like, well, you gotta have a show or something.
I wouldn't know how to do it because I would have to have 15 people on stage.
Need 15 people?
Well, or some songs, or like a minimum of 8.
Okay.
You know,
Just to handle the other instruments
I
or sound.
yeah, I can tell you there's like this one song I do is like 15 tracks going at one time. One time. You know, and it's just I just wouldn't know how to do it. I mean, I could, but it's just, you know, expensive and trying to get it. Yeah, you know, I hate to sound negative about it, but it's just a lot of hard work. Well, I'm not afraid of hard work, but I just don't know how I will make it happen. But you never know. It can happen. But no plans at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, but.
So in everything, okay, along your journey, did you ever come across, well, did you ever encounter any type of obstacle when it came to maybe a band that you wanted to play in, or just that whole relationship of being in a band?
You know, there's always obstacles, you know, being either yourself or just the world in general, because you know, you never know what the world wants in a sense. All you can do is be yourself, you know, and you can have all the backing and all the money behind you and people will still not get it, you know. So, you know, there are obstacles that you just are unforeseen variables that you have no control over, you know. People just might not just not like your stuff. There's nothing you can do about that, right? People just don't like you, you know.
Right.
I remember Snoop Dogg was talking about, yeah, man, I had tons of friends who I took out on the road. I toured with them, I recorded with them. But if people aren't buying their stuff, I did what I can do, you know. So, you know, there's always obstacles that, you know, that are beyond your beyond you. You know, all you can do is just do the best you. And if the world likes it, great. If they don't, well, there's nothing else you can do about that, you know? Yeah. So, you know, and that's another thing about music, you know, it's not a guaranteed thing, but nothing is. I mean, hell, I mean, people, you know, go to school to be a lawyer or something and get the law degree and can't find a job being a lawyer.
Right.
You know?
Well, with that being said, what advice would you give someone who is trying to make it in that industry? Well,
again, being realistic, what you want to achieve, you know. I mean, like I said, going into it, if you want to, if your goal is to become rich and famous and to make a whole lot of money and become real famous, that's not a realistic goal. I mean, because unless you do something infamous, what can a person do to make themselves famous? Who knows? You know, right. You know, I mean, you can, like I said, you can make all the videos that you want, you can make all the recordings that you want, but it's still not kick off. So just be honest to what you want to achieve and just go for it. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's nothing else you can do, really. It's just get out there, make the effort. Because, you know, just like salmon swimming up the stream. Some people are going to make it and some aren't, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and that's all there is to it. But that's with everything, isn't it?
Right.
You know? You know?
The whole mindset, the perspective of all I can do is do me, walk in the most authentic me that I can be, and then be, you know, walk in confidence with it as well. Be confident in it as well.
You know, the thing about being a musician, the best thing about being a musician is the worst thing about being a musician. And what I mean by that is the fact that anybody can do it.
Mhm.
Anybody who thinks they have a voice or can play 3 chords on a guitar can think they can put a band together and make it happen. We see that every day. A lot of people put bands together and they're terrible,
Right.
you know, but they can
Wow.
do it because it's a free country and everybody's allowed to do it. So you got this influx of people who are trying to do it, whether they are good at it or not. But still,
Mhm.
it's an easy thing to attempt, so to speak, because
Mhm.
anybody can do it. Anybody can buy a guitar. Anybody can buy a microphone. And like I said, we all know somebody who can sing really well, you know, so it's an easy thing to get into, but it's a hard thing to keep and to keep it going, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, with all those guitars that you have, do you offer lessons?
I don't.
What? What?
Being a guitar teacher is a very thankless job sometimes. Because
Really?
as you and I know, nobody likes to do their homework. Everyone spend an hour teaching you something. This happens. You know, you teach them something, they come back the next week. Did you learn your lesson? No. Then why am I here? You know,
Right.
I don't have the patience for that.
Okay. Well, are you open to offering lessons, even virtually? Can you do
Oh, I
virtual?
feel that. I mean, I'll show somebody a few things. I'll, you know, get somebody a lesson or two, but just me, just like giving a person a lesson every week and all that type of stuff. I don't, not that interested. But and again, you know, I think also being having a journey. There's a journey being a musician. You know, I think the best musicians are the musicians who taught themselves.
Mm.
I mean, every musician I think is awesome was like, well, how'd you learn this? I taught myself. Best ones are self-taught, I think. Jimi Hendrix is self-taught. Prince was self-taught. You know, self-taught people. But they learn through osmosis from seeing other people, from seeing this and seeing that and replicating it on their own. So self-taught, but by watching other people and taking whatever they want from that person and making it their own. And that's the beauty about music. You can take something and make it your own, and people that, yeah, kind of like cooking,
That's good.
you
That's
know,
good. Yeah.
because everybody's
Yeah.
got the same recipe for gumbo. No, everybody's got a recipe for gumbo,
A
but,
recipe. Right.
you
Right.
know, that makes it a little bit different, you know.
Mm.
You know.
Question for you. If you had the ability,
Uh-oh.
what would you, knowing all that you know now, face to face, what would you tell your 17-year-old self?
What can I tell my 17-year-old self? Keep going,
Mm.
keep going. You know, I mean, there are a lot of people who I grew up with who wanted to do what I did and just stopped after a while. And I was one of the few people who's like, no, I'm gonna keep on going, you know, until I do something,
Right.
you know, just keep going, follow your dream, you know, don't, you know, just keep going. That's all.
Love it.
Mm,
Love it.
yeah.
And what projects are you working on? You hinted on something earlier. What's your latest project?
So it's a solo album where it's just all me playing bass. There's like multi-tracking of bass stuff. And it's a bass album, but that's not really a bass album. And what I mean by that is if you were to listen to it, if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know that it's all bass.
Okay.
you know, and a lot of from my experience when people put out bass albums, an album where they have a band backing them and where they do solos over the tracks and stuff. Mine is different, where the bass is playing the keyboard parts, the guitar parts, the bass parts, whatever is playing, all the parts. But there's vocals too. So there's songs with choruses and verses, but it just happens to be all bass. And from the research I've done, I don't know if anybody who's done an album like this.
Right. Wow.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
That's interesting.
So, yeah.
So are you singing or somebody else singing?
I'm singing backup because I'm not the best singer in the world, but my voice is on it. But I have people who are, who are guest lead singers on most tracks, but my voice is on all tracks, but I have other people doing the lead stuff.
Wow, that is awesome. Okay, so when do you expect that project to
this year? I'll put out my goals to have it out before Christmas.
Okay.
Because people have stuff around Christmas time, so.
What a nice gift, right? Perfect.
Hey, well, but but here's the thing. So when, like I said, you got to find your own niche, but I think I'm probably doing something that's probably like way outside the box in some way. Maybe it'll find its way, maybe it won't, who knows, but at least I'll know that I did something that's unique. And that's the whole point of it, is to show that the bass guitar is a more versatile instrument than people realize, and that I can write songs. Those are my two goals. Show people I can write songs, and that the bass guitar is not just what they think the bass guitar is, So
I love that. Wow, that's pretty cool. So we'll have to, you're gonna have to do something as far as some type of concert or whatever. I mean,
we'll see. We'll see. Again, this is like one of those things. Like at the stage of my life, I'm kind of like, I'm over it. I'm so over it. I'm so over it. I know you're probably going, man. I know you're probably like thinking, man, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But yeah, I'm kind of at the slowing down stage of my life.
Okay. So tell me, what does this? I know you said you would go travel and all of that. What are you doing now before you get there?
Right now, I'm just chilling.
Okay.
I work. I do gigs every once in a while. I'll do a gig job here and there just to keep money coming in. But honestly, it's kind of funny. I was watching a movie and someone asked a character in the movie, were they happy? Are you happy? But then I thought about myself, and I go, well, you know what? I'm not unhappy. If I'm not unhappy, I must be doing okay.
Right.
There was a stage in my life about 3-4 years ago where I had just ended my last touring gig, and I was really depressed about it. It just kind of ended in a way that I wasn't happy with, and I was really, really depressed about it. And I just lost myself for a while. I was in a real dark place. And I don't even recognize where I was because I got out of it. And so when I asked myself, am I happy? Am I unhappy? If I'm not unhappy, it's like, yeah, I'm doing all right, because I know where I was and came out of it. And it's like, I don't even recognize that person anymore. So, yeah, I'm in a good spot right now. Slowing down and wanting to go on adventures. The funny thing is, Europe was going to be the first destination.
Okay.
I was going to go to Europe. I said, you know what? I see America first.
All right. You had so much to share. I didn't have to pull, So thank you.
Thank you.
This is beautiful. Now I have, go ahead and say that.
It looked great after it, man, I tell you. Good genes, baby. Good genes.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. So if you need to redo this or anything, just let me know. I mean, during the week, whatever, if there's anything you forgot to ask me or what have you, I got no problem.
Okay.
And I still have to get my stuff together. Some guy wants to do a website for me. I got plenty of pictures I can send you, but I've been lazy on that stuff, so I'll get that stuff to you later. But like I said, the CD's supposed to be coming out November, December, and I should have all that stuff ready by then. So
Okay. Well, what I am going to do is post some of those pictures that I've seen on when I Googled you. Some amazing pictures. Oh my gosh, I don't know who the individuals were that took them, but they were great. So I'm going to use a couple of those.
That's fine.
And just gather some little information here there to.
I've been lucky. People love to take pictures of me. So
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I'm telling you, you have a following, sir. You really do.
What was that?
I said you have a following.
Which is
People
weird.
love you.
Which is weird. Which is weird. I'm grateful, but it still kind of weird.
Why is this weird?
Well, it's like one of those things we just never thought would happen. And then, then when it does on some level, it's just like, really? That's all. That's all. That's all. Still just trying to keep this in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut all the noise down. Yeah. And just stay in our little lane, be who we are. And yes, while we're just embracing that thing.
Yeah.
So I have one last question for you. I ask everyone. Okay, so like a big hug, right, can say so much. Or I'm gonna put the scenario. Have you ever hugged someone and nobody ever said a word, but the thing that you felt was like this transferring of where it's love and it's healing and forgiveness and I got you and all of that. So
well, it's kind of a sad story. I think the last time I had a real hug like that, it's been a few years. But it was I was on tour, and it was my friend's last tour because he was quitting the band, and we were dropping him off at the airport. And we gave each other a hug, and then I don't know, I was weird. It was like something I felt in that hug. But a few months later, he passed.
Wow.
But he was only like 26.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like weird, but when I saw him, it was like there was something in that. I've had many hugs since then. For some reason, I remembered that hug. So sorry to
No. It was perfect. It was perfect. And that is so real too. That whole feeling, that whole transferring, that whole and like I said, nobody ever has to say a word. But I see hugs as that thing that, like I said, builds up and encourages. If you could give the world the biggest hug ever, what would your hug say?
Oh man, well, I don't know. Really, I would just like to give a healing hug to everybody because I think everybody's so hurt, and everybody's talking about this world peace thing, and I really believe, man, if we were kinder to each other, it would just be, be such a better place.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It really is hard, but I just want people to love each other. I just want people to be kinder to each other, more understanding to each other, That's all I want, really. you know.
Yeah, I love that.
You
Yeah.
know, that's all. I just, everybody's so money driven, power driven, but not a lot. I mean, but for some reason, love driven doesn't seem as valuable.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Right.
you know, simple,
Wow.
man. People enjoying each other's time and space.
Yeah.
That's all. Simple stuff, but
I
all
love that.
not that simple. Because everybody's agenda is the same. Everybody's
Right.
heart's in the same place. You
Yeah.
know, everybody.
And then go ahead.
Yeah, but not everybody feeds off of love.
Right. You're right. You
That's,
are right.
I want
Oh
to
my.
heal everybody.
Right. I do. Look, me too. It's
Yeah.
like, hi, how come you like this? Don't do this. Just
So
yeah,
think
take a
about
step
it.
back.
Yeah, because I don't even have any enemies I can think about. Do you have any enemies? I can't think of anybody.
No.
Yeah.
Look, not that I know of. They might not like me, but I don't know.
Hey,
They
well,
don't, but
then you're doing
yeah,
a good job then if you can't think of anybody,
I guess so. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we understand how this world is anyway. And it's okay. I'ma just be me. That's
Yeah.
all that I can do is
Mhm.
just be me.
So after Germany, is there a destination that you might want to check out, or to try to see if you can make something and stay there?
Yes. So I would really love to check out Portugal, um, Switzerland,
Switzerland's cool.
um, and then I don't know from there, but it's I love it here. That's all I can say is it embraced me and I'm embracing it back.
Yeah, baby.
You
Ain't
know,
nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
it's just the piece of it all. I don't, it's something about, I don't know, whether it's in the earth, you know, here it is, there's a piece about it. And
It's
it's
just,
so daggone beautiful.
oh
Oh my,
yeah. I love the
so,
old buildings and yeah,
oh my gosh,
right.
yes, 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 yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say food, but it's not in the cultured food. It is the freshness and the not so many chemicals and all of that. And I was blown away that you have a McDonald's here, just like we have McDonald's, in the US, but
It's
it don't
different.
taste the same. It
Yeah.
don't taste the same because those same chemicals that are allowed in the US, they are not allowed over here
Yeah.
in this food. And I was
Dig
like,
that.
what do
Dig
you
that.
mean?
Dig that. Yeah. I dig that.
Thing. That kind of stuff just, and then it's so clean here. Recycling is a must.
What
You have
is?
to do it. Recycling,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's you'll be fined, for not doing that. Yeah. So there's so many things like that. I just love about it.
All right. So you really think about moving to Germany, huh?
I would stay here. I would so stay here. So if I find a job, uh, no, look, if my business takes off the way that I want it to, um, the way that I believe it is going to, definitely.
You can live anywhere. Yeah.
I'm a, oh yeah, definitely. And you know what, really, like that's what I see for myself, the traveling here and there and working,
Mhm.
of course, through the computer, through the telephone.
You can do
Um,
that now.
you're right.
Mhm.
And just being able to go when he tells me to go, right? Like I don't have to put in a 2 weeks notice because it's my business, not me working for somebody else. It's me working for me. But so just the go, and then to just get my stuff and go. And I do not have everything. So part of the going, put 2 weeks notice and go was give your stuff away and go. So all the stuff that I had before, I don't have it. And which makes moving easy. I got a little,
you dumped all your stuff? Really?
A little bit, yes.
No, that's cool. That's cool. That's real cool. It's just stuff.
Right.
I mean, listen,
I'm not gonna say that it wasn't easy. I'm not gonna say that it was easy letting it go, but because you think it is, and I thought it was. It's like, it's just stuff. But then it's like, oh dang, I can use this. I can wear this. I don't want to give away this shirt. This is my favorite shirt.
Yeah. Just stuff.
Right. Just go. It really, giving that away makes room for me to receive more, and greater. So, yeah, that's where I am. I'm really excited about it. I am. So wherever God sends me next, I'm like, I'm down for it. Down for whatever.
Yeah, keep me. Yeah, let me know. I'm very curious to,
Yeah.
If you actually stay in Germany, that'd be interesting. That'd be real interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, I got to return that phone call. So.
Oh, yeah. It's been a while.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Well, I thank you for just taking time out of your schedule. I know you're chilling and all, but you are still a busy man with all your
all my toys.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I really do. I truly thank you. And just the whole conversation, Carlton, for us catching up. It was so beautiful. I'm excited about your journey. I really am. The place that you are.
I'm excited about yours.
That whole space that you are in right now. Oh my gosh, you're in the right spot to hear and be ready to do the daggone thing. So.
Oh hell yeah, that's where I'm at.
So you keep on doing the daggone thing.
Keep on keeping on, baby.
And as I say, biggest hug ever. Love you. Love you.
Baby, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.